Hey there, everyone. Jim here with Fantasy for the Ages, bringing to you a rapid review today. It's coming, it's here finally. I've been reading through Malazan Book of the Fallen, and I'm ready to bring you a rapid review of Book 1, Gardens of the Moon. If you enjoy this episode, be sure to like it, and we'd love for you to subscribe to our channel. If you haven't done that yet, you can count on more of these Malazan reviews coming out in the near future as I work through these books. But we've got plenty more here to like on the channel, so check it out. Warning! Full spoilers here. I'm talking about anything and everything from Gardens of the Moon today, so if you haven't read this, this is not the episode for you. Go check out my book blast, which was spoiler light and didn't ruin anything on Gardens of the Moon. I waited a long time to start on Malazan, over 2 years from when I first heard of this series and how epic and great it was. Now, I feel like I waited just long enough. Between all the epic fantasy, grimdark, and really complex stuff like Gene Wolfe's The Book of the New Sun, which nearly beat me into submission, Gardens of the Moon was a delightfully complex, rich, and epic read. We jump around quite a bit in this book. Different characters, different settings, even different times as we jump forward quite a bit from where we start. And it can make it kind of hard to follow. This book is establishing what I believe will happen for the rest of the 10-book series, and it's a roller coaster of a ride. It's easy to get lost, but again, I've got some background in reading now. I was ready for this, and I thought it was fantastic. So what's the deal with this story? Well, again, being a rapid review, I'm going to try to keep this to just 10 minutes. Let's be brief. Emperor Cullenved, founder of the Malazan Empire, is gone. Not right at the beginning, but pretty soon into the book. It happens off screen. We only hear rumors of what's gone on, but he's gone. Many of his closest advisors and military leaders, like Dancer and Decim Ultor, we don't really know what happened to them all. What we understand, what we're told, is that Surly did away with him, and she now rules as the Empress, going by a new name, Empress Laseen. She started out in a lowly position. Many knew that, but she rose up in the ranks and kind of was treated like a surrogate daughter to the Emperor. She acquired considerable power and created an organization called the Claws, kind of a secret police slash assassin slash magic wielder group. All of it deadly. And she was in charge. Not that she was a claw, but she ran the claws. Throughout this book, we're going to see the actions of the Empress Laseen. We only actually meet her once in the book, but we hear about her and her decisions frequently as she has her forces trying to eliminate and eradicate all magic users except those that she controls, and stretch out her power over even greater amounts of land. The Malazan Empire is trying to expand further and further. Along the way, she's also trying to eradicate any people who could contest her authority and power. Over the years, many of those who had been closest to the old emperor in the military are gone. The nobility that had supported him, they're gone. There's been purges that have been going on from time to time, and really much of the upper echelon of the Malazan nation has been eliminated, leaving just people who are like, Laseen, Laseen. Any of the older people, they could look at her and remember when she was nothing, and they see a usurper who took power from the emperor. So she wants them to go away. As we move closer into the story and closer to some of the particular characters, we get to meet the Bridge Burners, the famous 9th Squad of the 2nd Army of the Malazan Armed Forces. This was an elite army division that has been devastated in recent fighting, seemingly being again and again put wherever the odds are the most against the armed forces. They are exceptional battle soldiers, but even so, when you get pounded on again and again, you take a beating, and this is a much depleted force by the time we come upon them. We do get to meet their famous leader, Sergeant Whiskey Jack, and some of his closest soldiers, closest to his leadership and trust. Corporal Callum, the ex-Claw, Quick Ben, a mage, but not one of the authorized mages. Hedge, Fiddler, Trots, Mallet, a number of different soldiers that are kind of inner circle people, and Sari, who's a young conscripted girl. I mean, she volunteered, and there's something strange about her, and we're going to come to find out she's actually been taken over by a higher power to be used as a killing force. All of these soldiers, though, are loyal to one particular high fist, kind of a top general, named Dujek One Arm. He's one of the last of the classic, most powerful armed army people from the old emperor's time. We also get to meet some of Empress Laseen's mages, the ones who are officially magic users in the empire now. One of them, Taishren, seems to be acting on the Empress's orders to kill soldiers and put the bridge burners in the worst situations possible and seeming to sabotage things. Taishren seems to be a traitor, and yet he's in power to make others look like they're the traitors. One of those would be another mage, Tattersail. Now, she's a cadre mage that had been assigned to the bridge burners, and she sees what Taishren's doing and then clearly wants to turn against him and do what she can to help the bridge burners. And, well, in the end, that's going to get her killed. Maybe? There seems to be something else that might be happening down the road. I mean, she died. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not sure she's dead. This is something this story does. Death isn't always death, apparently. Also caught up in all of this is a young noble, Ganos Perrin, who signed up to join the army years ago, thinking he'd make a difference. And he's gotten sucked into things. He's an officer because he was a noble, but he ends up working directly for Empress Laseen and her adjunct, Lauren. And Perrin ends up quickly caught up in the bridge burner business, though he is not himself a bridge burner. There's so much to this story, and I can't do it all justice in this review, but basically we get to see action by the Malazan forces as they try to take over the last of the free cities, Dahujistan, as Malazan is trying to kind of conquer much of another continent beyond their original space. Also in play is Anamander Rake, the Lord of Moonspawn, kind of a Death Star floating asteroid up above the world. Not that far up there, but it just hovers and it moves wherever he wants it to. And he's kind of leading a group of the Tistiandi up there. Now, they're a race of human-like creatures, but they're not human beings. For reasons of their own, he's siding against the Malazan army. Okay, let's add in a bunch of deeper elements into this story to make it more amazing. Magic users live longer. Apparently, human mages using magic prolongs their lives. They can go hundreds of years. Magical beings like Anamander Rake, they seem practically immortal, though they can be killed, but their life expectancy is quite long. Some people, and perhaps other races as well, can ascend to a higher level of being, we learn, achieving godlike capabilities. And although there appear to be higher gods than these ascended, the ascended are ones that are kind of in between and still muck around with the mortal races, seem to have ties to them, but there seem to be rules as to how much they can and can't do, maybe set by the higher gods, but of course we don't get to learn all that here yet. Oh, and there's dragons. There be dragons here in this book. Long story short, what comes of this tale is that Sari, the girl with the bridge burners, is used by an ascended, Cotillion, who's the assassin servant of Shadow Throne, the head of one of the ascended houses. Cotillion is using Sari for his own purposes, but a deal is struck along the way and she is set free. Also along the way, the bridge burners end up going rogue, following the lead of Dujek One Arm, who's been declared in rebellion against Empress Laseen. The bridge burners pick up another companion, while the latter part of the story is focused on that last free city, Dahujistan. This young man's named Crocus, and he seems to fall for Sari. Love moment. And as the book ends, our bridge burners are going to go their separate ways and separate missions now, no longer working for the Malazan army. One of those is to return Sari home to where she was long ago kidnapped magically. We saw that early in the book when it made no sense. And Crocus, of course, will go with, and some of the bridge burners. Finishing the book, it's obvious there's so much more to this than anyone could absorb in just one read. Just skimming it again for this rapid review, I was already catching connections I couldn't make the first time. It probably helped I've already read book 2 now as well. I look forward already to my second read of Malazan. And I don't say that lightly, with such a massive TBR awaiting me. All right, that's all I can do. I'm a little over my time, but good enough. It's Gardens of the Moon. It's Malazan. It's got to be long. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we will talk to you next time.